Good evening. We'll call the Hawarden City Council to order on Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. We thank you for your attendance tonight. If you are community members, you can address the council and staff on Agenda 1C. There are no public hearings this evening. I'll remind the council that we're using the revised agenda number 1 that was in the packet, added a little more information for us. So we have a number of presenters today, so we will get started. Agenda item number 1A, approval of the June 9th, 2021 regular city council meeting minutes and June 16th, 2021 special council meeting minutes. Is there a motion for their approval?
So moved.
Moved by Travis.
I'll second.
Seconded by Jen. All in favor of the approval of the regular council meeting and special council meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It passes 5-0. Next, we have approval of claims for payment. I'll start to my left with Rob for questions.
No questions.
Okay, Jen, any questions?
Questions?
Okay, John? Travis?
None, thank you.
Okay, Tim? None. There's been a motion by Tim. Is there a second?
So moved.
Seconded by Rob. All in favor then of the approval of the July 14th? We'll wait just a moment. Okay, does that sound okay? Can you hear us in the back? Okay. Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second, a motion by Tim, a second by Rob for approval of the July 14th, 2021 claims for payment. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain. There's 4 positive with 1 abstention. This time we move to agenda item number 1C, open business from the community. I ask that you come to the podium if you wish, state your name, and limit your comments to 5 minutes.
My name is Patty Anderson. I'm here to talk about the sale of the city's high-tech municipal utility that the city council wants to sell. I believe the governing body, obtained bids from 2 companies that they chose for the sale of high-tech, from what I can tell from the April 28th meeting and getting some information from Mike. And the 2 companies were Premier Communications and Long Lines. At the April 28th City Council meeting, I believe it was said that Premier Communications offered a bid of approximately $1.8 million plus some other items, and Long Lines offered a cash bid of approximately 1.9, I believe, somewhere near those figures. And I believe the City Council was in favor of selling high-tech to Premier Communications. The process the city used to obtain bids from those 2 companies, I believe, were non-compliant with the Iowa Code and are null and void. I did ask for the competitive bidding documents from the city, and I didn't get those. Equally, the process of selecting a company was non-compliant. There were no competitive bidding procedures followed. The sale of high-tech reminds me of approximately 20 years ago when a couple people affiliated with the city said the Hawarden Municipal Hospital was losing money and should be sold. The citizens basically said no. From there, the citizens were charged a small fee on their utility bill to help fund the city hospital. The citizens held an election to be able to charge, for the city to charge a 1% local option sales tax that was to be given to the hospital. Volunteers from the hospital auxiliary sold goods at their thrift store to give funds to the hospital, and they still do. But it's because of the citizens of Hawarden that there's still a hospital. That's just one example of attempting to sell a municipal utility. We now have an improved state-of-the-art hospital. This hospital is only just one example of what will be needed from broadband services now and in the future as it continues to grow and a broader amount of services are being offered. I'm asking the City Council to not vote on the 2 items listed on the agenda, to proceed with an election to sell high-tech, and proceed with the sale of high-tech. And I'm asking that no one on the City Council motions to approve those 2 items. If someone makes a motion, I'm asking that the council not vote on it so they fail for lack of motion. Cities just don't sell municipal utilities, and certainly not this way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Monty Harvey, and I wrote this because I was afraid of 4-letter words and rambling, so forgive me. I'm here tonight to talk about the sale of high-tech. I am not here to talk to the council. Their minds are made up. I'm here to talk to the owners of high-tech, those people sitting at home and watching this on cable. Hawarden was a trailblazer for municipal utilities in Iowa. They were the first one to have a telecommunications outfit. If you decide to throw Hawarden out the bus, it's never going to come back. What is here will go away and we'll never see it again. Being a municipal utility, there are special laws that pertain to selling it. It's Chapter 388, and it goes mainly subsection 2. I'm sure Jim knows. There's a lot of stuff you've got to do to satisfy the public that you're doing this on the up and up, and you haven't done any of it. In addition, I did read this section 2 of 388, and last year, in the middle of a pandemic, in November, the state of Iowa put a paragraph in 388 that says if you are a municipal telecommunications utility in a community of 2,000 to 3,000 people, you don't have to get an appraisal for what you're selling. It also says that that paragraph goes away in July of 22. What's that all about? You know? You might as well say Hawarden subdivision, you know, because there's nobody else around that appeals to, that applies to. I don't understand. But that goes neither here nor there. Before you guys vote, and I'm talking now again to the community as a whole, have you considered anything else? You know, have you considered leasing? Have you considered, you know, a 26E corporation, whatever it is? You know, there's lots of other things we can do besides dump this to a private concern. Number one. Number two, you know, are you happy with high-tech? Are you happy with the service? You know, Ronnie Prothero has been here since high-tech has been in existence, and I put anybody up against him for delivering good quality service, quickly, honestly, with integrity. And I don't think that's going to continue if high-tech goes away. Secondly, since we have no information about, you know, the reason for this, I'm concerned what other utilities are you guys going to sell next? You know, electric? I doubt that. You know, gas? Please sell the gas. And what about Premier? Whatever the bid is, whatever the price is, they got to recoup their money. That's going to happen either by increasing the rates that they charge, getting more efficient, or something else. Well, if they aren't going to raise the rates, if they can keep doing this at the same money that we're doing it for now, then you guys made a mess of high-tech. And I guess if that's the case, then maybe we should vote to sell high-tech, but we sure as hell shouldn't vote for you. One last thing I want to mention is that there's money coming for broadband. Broadband for rural and underserved. Lots of money. And if high-tech is still in existence, maybe we can get some of it to offset some of these costs. Guys that you're listening to, I just want you to know that, you know, they're going to try and vote this on September 14th. You can either stay home and let somebody else decide it for you, or you can go and vote. vote no to sell high-tech. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address council? Okay. Thank you. Move on to the mayor's report. The annual American Legion Burger Feed is next Thursday. Great opportunity to support the Legion and the Legion Auxiliary and to be with friends from the community. Reminder, the farmers market is at the city park every Thursday. Congratulations to the showroom suites on their grand opening tomorrow. We thank Ryan and Ashley Noble on their commitment to our community. Personal thanks to everyone for their cards and well wishes following my falling down and breaking elbow and some ribs. Appreciate all the efforts that people made to make Hawarden Summer Rec successful again this year. And lastly, Kay Scroggs has moved from our community and therefore is off of the library board. We thank her for all of her time and energy spent with that. That then leaves an opening on the Hawarden Library Board. Also a reminder of the zoning board and Board of Zoning Adjustment have openings also. So if you wish to volunteer for any of those, let myself or Mike or the city know. Move on to staff reports, and we'll start with Travis.
I'd like to speak a little bit about our water levels in our well. The rain was a blessing. Our wells are maintaining about the same level they were when we went into the restriction. But you have to remember, with this rain, it took us a year to get low enough to call on the restrictions. So it's going to take quite a few more good rains to get us back up into that good level. So right now, I don't advise lifting the restriction. We'll look at it another 30 days, see how the rains continue. But I would like to note that, we went from $400,000 to $600,000 gallons a day down to 200,000 to 300,000. So basically half once we did the restrictions. So I appreciate everyone in town doing their part to conserve water because, you can see where it did make a difference. So there's no new updates to the Highway 10 project. They're still on track. They're finishing up the bridge approach and the sidewalks in town. Tim Moodhart will be retiring in September after 26 and a half years of working with the city. We've hired Jeff Sherman for his replacement. He will start July 26th. That'll give him 2 months to work with Tim and learn as much as he can before Tim's retirement. With that being said, earlier this week we got a 2-week notice from Jared Grun, our other street maintenance worker. He took employment in Sioux Falls and will be moving out of the community. So I hope to fill that position as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you very much. Mike?
Warren City Sanitation wants me to remind everyone that the new toters will be delivered next week, Monday or Tuesday. They do tell me that the process may be somewhat cumbersome at first, so please try to be patient. If you have an Independence Waste toter that you want to turn in for the $12 refund, call Orange City Sanitation and they'll arrange pickup. And if you are currently renting a toter from Orange City Sanitation, call them and they will arrange a pickup of that toter and process a refund if you have paid in advance. Hawarden Swimming Pool will close for the season on Monday, August 15 at 4 o'clock. At that date, over half the lifeguards will be leaving for college, and we just won't have enough staff to keep it open longer.
Thanks. Mr. Pickler or anything from you?
No, I don't have anything.
Corey? Nothing here either. Okay, thank you very much. That moves us to any council comments at this point?
I'm just curious about the water, saving water. I saw the high school was watering last Friday. Is there something we can do to get them to stop watering during the day anyway? Or?
Yeah, we have. They've unplugged their systems they evidently run off a wireless app and they were having problems. They have them set, they tell me they have them set for the right times, but they would just kind of go off. So once that was pointed out that they were watering after that rain, we did call them. They finally went and unplugged the systems completely, so they're not running anymore.
And what are the procedures for residential? I mean, I was driving around and there was like somebody watering at noon or whatever, middle of the day.
Normally, if somebody sees that and they report it, we report it to the police department. They contact the owners and let them know that that it's not proper. The times they can't. There's only 2 days a week they can do it if their house faces a certain way. And
Is there anything, any teeth in that we?
well, if they continue to do it, we can issue a municipal infraction citation.
And what's that do?
It's what, yeah, a $345 ticket. So,
So we do have some teeth.
yeah, we've been trying to stay on it. You know, some people are really conscious of it, others are not so much. But I think we've had to warn a few people. But
Thank you.
Anything else from council? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to other agenda items. Presentation for the fiscal year 2020 financial audit. Graham Forbes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as mentioned, my name is Graham Forbes. I'm with Williams Company. I'm going to quick here run through what we're looking at is the FY20 as pointed out. So fiscal year ended June 30th, 20 audit report here. I'm going to hit a few high points. It looks like you guys got a pretty healthy agenda, so I'm not going to sit up here and talk you to death, but please ask any questions you have or stop me at any point with questions. That would be great. So, you know, so I guess I'm going to flip right into the financial. Well, starting an MD&A on page 5 is the management's discussion analysis. That's commentary put together by city staff. A lot of comparative information comparing the current fiscal year to the prior, and then some commentary on discussing some of those changes, you know, from prior year to current year, as well as other economic factors, current debt status as far as amount of debt outstanding, and other budgetary discussion as well. And again, it's just if you don't want to look at all 70-some pages, it's a good place to look just for a quick summary of kind of where's the city at and compared to the prior fiscal year. You know, from there, I will have you flip to pages 21 and 22. That's where we actually get into the financials of the district, or of the city, excuse me. You know, and I would say overall, you know, a pretty stable year, you know, and, you know, pretty close to budget. You see there was a decrease in the general fund, you know, and then a planned decrease in the TIF fund balance. I'm looking at the net change in fund balance towards the bottom of the page there. And then a plan for increase in the debt service fund balance, and then a little bit of decrease in the non-major governmental funds. But I would say, you know, all things considered, and what was a, you know, kind of the start of a interesting cycle there, a stable year, I guess would be the terms I would use. And then likewise for the city proprietary funds, or more commonly we refer to as the utility funds, on pages 26 and 27. See some similar information where we look at the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position for those utility funds. You know, you see kind of overall similar results, you know, a few of the different utilities with some increases in fund balance, a few with some modest decreases, but overall, again, you know, kind of across the spectrum of those proprietary funds, pretty stable results, you know, for that period ended June 30 of 2020. So I don't think anything, you know, of exception to point out there. But again, Mike or anybody else would be happy to answer any questions or any comments or anything like that. Feel free. So, you know, from there, starting page 34 is the notes to the financials. I'm not going to dig into that. Just a lot of detail. If you're looking to dig further into any one area, whether it be outstanding debt, post-employment benefits, net pension liabilities, or any other myriad of different accounting policies or items of the city in greater detail you want to dig into, that's where you would find that information. On pages 64 and 65 are the budgetary comparison schedules. There, just as it sounds, we take the final amended budgets of the city and compare those to the actual results for the year. So you'll kind of see, kind of page 65 there, the second to last column is that final amended budget figure. And then the reporting entity total there, the second one in on page 65 is the actual. And then as we compare those is the variance column, you'll see that the city was overall under budget for the year, which is obviously, where we want to be and helps create some of those stable outcomes we talked about before. So, no noteworthy items there. From there is a lot of more detail, starting on page 66 of information about the city's involvement in IPERS, or otherwise known as the net pension liability and the city's proportionate share of that, as well as some of the other post-employment benefits the city offers. Not going to spend a bunch of time there. Again, a lot of information, but I'm not going to dig that far into the weeds here unless somebody would have some specific questions, and then I'd be happy to. And then following that is the combining schedules of the city, where some of these smaller funds or operations of the city, the reports there. So you'll start to see on page 73, some of the smaller levies and then capital projects funds of the cities, the individual results of those individual funds are found there. So, and then followed up with some other required reporting we have and is in compliance with government auditing standards, and then some of the state reporting requirements the city's subject to as well. But any questions, any areas you'd like to discuss in more detail?
We've always found our staff pretty helpful and beneficial in giving you everything you need to make a clear and concise audit.
I mean, Jacob, who is now with us today, and Mike and the rest of his staff, this year was a little more trying than normal with trying to do things in a remote, COVID-friendly basis, and, created some just different set of circumstances. But yes, as far as cooperation and getting us the items we requested, and no issues there whatsoever.
It's good practice, as our community does, to have our financials all on our website, so people can access all the different entities of our community, all the different utilities that we own and everything that we spend, as we put our city minutes and everything on the website for public comment.
Yeah, and I believe, and I don't know for sure, but I believe the city will put a copy of the audit report on the website, and I know a copy of the audit report's already been submitted to the state auditor, where it'll be available there as well. So.
Questions from council or staff for Graham? Thank you for being with us.
Yep, thank you. Yep, appreciate it.
Move on then to agenda item number 4, presentation by Doug Boone, Premier Communications.
All right, Mike will get me plugged in there.
You're plugged in.
Can you click on that presentation mode? Right there, I think you're on. Click on it.
I think I froze up again, Doug.
There we go. Thank you. All right. Well, first of all, Mr. Mayor and council, members of the staff, and the community, thanks for letting us take part in this today. Again, my name is Doug Boone. I am the CEO at Premier Communications in Sioux Center, and I just want to say that we've been anxious for a long time to have this opportunity to speak to you and to present some things about Premier, who we are, and what we would desire to do within the city of Hawarden. So, first of all, we're going to talk about fiber for Hawarden. That's our goal. That's our plan. That's our purpose here. And based on looking at this map, if you could see it, the blue is the service territory that Premier Communications serves today. And most of these areas, we would be considered the incumbent communications provider. In Hawarden and surrounding Hawarden, we are the incumbent provider. So when we purchased this particular exchange, along with 9 others from Heartland Communications of Iowa back in 2016, we knew what the situation was in Hawarden, and we understood the system that you had. And we diligently went, starting in Sibley, working our way all the way through to the Hawarden, Akron rural areas, of completing a fiber optic system throughout all those service territories. And we're at that point for our company where we had to decide, okay, where are we at regarding the city of Hawarden, the community of Hawarden? We had, again, a reputation to maintain, to provide service. And we knew within the city of Hawarden, with the network we had, we were not doing that well. And at the same time, we were well aware of the situation that the city of Hawarden had a municipal system. We did not want to do something that was going to provide a conflict and actually harm the city. So with the city's decision to decide to move forward with a possible sale, that really allows us to move forward with hopefully providing the network that we believe the community needs. So again, I just wanted to point that out, that in light of, again, some of the conversations that might take place, we are compelled to serve this territory. And one way or the other, we believe we will, and we'll do it well, and we like to do it in conjunction with the council and the community and do it in partnership. Some of the strengths of Premier Communications, again, we're not a fly-by-night company. We've been around for 115 years. We provide service today to 29 communities. We serve over 23,000 customers. We can do it efficiently and effectively, and therefore offer the robust services that a community deserves. We have the ability to provide 24/7 customer service and technical support with our 90 dedicated employees. We've invested over $100 million in fiber optics and electronics in the last 10 years. And these aren't investments that are made with immediate returns. These are long-term investments, but we're a long-term operating company. We're successfully delivering gigabit-capable services across our entire service territory, and we have a reputation for community involvement. And that is one of the reasons in our proposal we put in references from the mayor of Lamar's, from city administrators in neighboring communities, not from Sioux Center, but from the neighboring communities where we serve, because we believe our reputation says we will participate. Let us know how we can help, and we'll be a part of helping the community grow. So our purchase price, our offer, was $2,850,000. There are no financing contingencies. There's no reasons that we have to delay. From our perspective, financing and cash is available to make the cash portion of the acquisition. We made a commitment to start construction next year with fiber to the home, every business in the community. We estimate that to be an additional $4.5 million, and we believe we can have that completed by the end of next year. The community investment commitment that we made is an additional $50,000, basically saying to the city, how can we partner with you? You want to build a shelter house, you want to expand a bike trail, you want to do something at the pool or concessions or something like that. We're committing that we're going to participate with you in these things. And I think, just as a matter of fact, with the, your Labor Day celebration, we've committed $2,500 for fireworks, just something that lets people know, hey, we're here, we're a positive, we want to be a positive influence for the community. So anyway, why fiber? You know, that's a question a person might ask. First of all, it touches every part of our lives, and if we ever found that out, it was obviously in the last 18 months. We have the opportunity to benefit everyone. If it's work from home, if it's telehealth, entertainment, we sure find out that there's more and more streaming opportunities that people have. Smart Ag, online learning. One of the things that we discovered last year, that from an affordability perspective, there were actually some customers that were not able to, that did not subscribe to our internet service in rural areas around Hawarden. because of our USDA grant and the fiber that we deployed, we were able to provide them service at a significantly reduced rate because it was the right thing to do at that time of crisis. But it was so fortunate that we had built out that network, and we were able to partner in that case with the federal government and the state of Iowa to build fiber in that extremely high-cost rural area. And then, of course, there's always online shopping, which I know is something that, as in small rural communities, we want to say, how do we shop local? But the fact is that these are things that people are using, and many people do. So we want to have that, at least a service available. So this will be a fully fiber network, dedicated underground fiber to every residence and every business in Hawarden. It's the highest quality broadband service available today and far into the future. So it isn't just about capabilities today. It is about capabilities that are future-proof and that can grow with the demands that are out there. And it also includes a physical and electronic redundancy in the network. So one fiber cut doesn't bring down the system. So we'll be having access to multiple internet peering points. So again, from the standpoint of your broadband capability in particular, it'll be at the top tier service. So the timeline, as part of our bid process, we did a network design. So that's been completed. We are beginning the final engineering right now. We've started the final engineering, and we want to make sure that you understand that that isn't because we're presumptuous of a vote. What we're saying is that supply chain is a huge problem. If we don't order fiber, if we don't order some equipment, if we don't have an idea of what we're doing, next year's construction won't happen. So we're taking a step forward, accepting that risk, but we're beginning our formal engineering right now. We're going to have a community open house on August 23. We want to be able to answer questions. We want to be able to talk about pricing and products and services. So we feel that'll be a great opportunity for that. We plan to begin construction in April of next year, obviously assuming supply chain and weather, but everything at this point seems to be in play and allows us to be able to do that. And then we would hope that customer installations can begin late next fall. So people that would want to take on our service, we can transition them from the current high-tech service onto fiber. Maybe there's new customers, but we hope to, our goal is to fast track this and bring it about as quickly as we can. So in the end, service enhancements. So Premier will offer robust internet, voice, and video services. Upon completion of the fiber build, some of the capabilities will be enhanced internet speeds, with the ability to offer service up to 1 gig with no data caps. Again, data caps oftentimes are a big issue. I don't know if they're an issue here, but we find that in many communities where we compete, where data caps exist, they're just not received well. We agree, we don't like them, so there won't be any. The network will be able to offer 1 gig, but the fiber in the ground will have the capability through electronic changes to go to 10 gig, to 40 gig into the future as that demand might increase. We'll have upgraded video services to an IPTV-based system with over 80 HD channels. We'll have the ability to provide a streaming-only option to watch video programming on your tablets, on your phones, in your homes. We'll have options for businesses to upgrade to hosted IP platforms, advanced services for their businesses, and the ability for residents and businesses to select service packages to best fit their needs. It isn't a one and done. They'll have options, but there will be options with robust services around them. So we're excited to be here. We're excited for the opportunity. We hope you do move forward with the vote. We would like to see that because we believe it's the best way for us both to work through this together, because one way or the other, we need to figure out how to do something as the incumbent. We would sure rather do it with you, and that would be our desire. So with that, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer. One thing I didn't do, I did not mention my two co-workers here. Ryan Boone is the Chief Operating Officer, and Scott Destrudy is my Chief Sales and Marketing Officer. No, not technology, no. But anyway, so they're here also in case there's a more detailed question that I can't answer. But anyway, I'd be happy to answer anything you would like.
Questions from council?
Is the August 23 open house known at this point? scheduled, or?
We were gonna, yeah, they're on the agenda. They're gonna put something out, but we wanted to get through tonight.
Right.
And then put it out.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank you.
I would hope on the August 23 open house that people, whether they're for the sale, against the sale, for Premier, for Long Lines, would at least just come out and take a look at what is being offered. And then they can decide from there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That leads us to the agenda item number 3. This would be the third reading of ordinance 730, ordinance amending the code of ordinances, definition of residential premises, waste storage containers, solid waste collection rates. OC sanitation, any other comments? We've done the first and second reading.
Nope.
Okay, is there a motion for the third reading of ordinance 739?
So moved.
Moved by Tim, is there a second? Second. Seconded by Travis. Call for a roll call vote, please, for the third reading of ordinance 730.
Clucky,
Aye.
Feldeicher,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Bergsma,
Aye.
Kurth.
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, third reading of ordinance 730 passes. That moves us to agenda item number 6. Agenda item number 6 is the discontinuance and disposal by sale of the telecommunications utility of the city of Hawarden, Iowa. Resolution 2021-30, taking initial action regarding the potential discontinuance and disposal by sale of the telecommunications utility of the city of Hawarden. We've been working with Steve Liddell, the attorney through the Allers law firm in Des Moines. We had him on conference call last month. Steve commented last time that he was with the city when we first got into telecommunications. So we'll get him squared up.
Steve Nadel.
Steve, Mike DeBryan with the city of Hawarden. You are in open session. We're about to take on the 2 resolutions.
Excellent, thank you.
Hi, Steve. This is Rick Porter, the mayor of Hawarden. Thanks again for being with us tonight. We are at agenda item number 6, which is the discontinuance and disposal by sale of the telecommunications utility, the resolution 2021-30, which is taking the initial action regarding the potential discontinuance and disposal by the sale of the telecommunications utility of the city of Hawarden. According to Mike's memo with this item will be for the council to approve the information that is to be posted on the city website 60 days prior to the municipal election. Obviously, there's a lot of information to include financial information. You've given us a summary of each category to go on the site along with the information, all which is required by Iowa Code Chapter 388.3A. We had questioned this evening from a public member that we're not following the code. I want you to reassure the community that we are following the code, and everything we have done to this point has been per code of the state of Iowa. Would that be correct, Steve?
That is certainly my understanding. If somebody thinks the city is not following the code, I would urge them to express exactly what they think is not being complied with. And do you have any idea what that is?
No, in public comments, I just mentioned the Iowa code,
Competitive bidding.
competitive bidding.
Okay, there is nothing in the Iowa code regarding the sale of a municipal utility that requires that it be put out to bid.
Okay. You had mentioned last time, Steve, that you were with the city of Hawarden when we first got into the telecommunications,
That is correct.
and you were the one to kind of put together the legalese to, as we're going through all of this at this point. Is that correct?
That is correct. Now, I will let you know that With regard to the sale of real property, there will be a procedure to follow with that. But in terms of the actual process for 388.2A, I believe that the city has followed the Iowa Code.
Okay, thank you. Also, in Mike's comments in regards to this resolution, we will order a notice of proposal to sell the communications. A mailer will be made to every property owner in the city limits, every ratepayer to the specified communications utility. The mailing will include the information that the council has proposed to sell the communications utility, date of the election, and where to find on the city website all of the information that pertains to the sale and election. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would wish to give us in regards to Resolution 2021-30?
Simply that the resolution kind of walks through the step-by-step. All the information has been gathered by Mike with diligence, and with the posting on the website and the mailing of the notice and summaries, the information that's included in that notice, which is before the council, that will comply with 388.2A and allow the ordering of the special election.
Okay. Any council members have questions for Steve Nadell?
I don't necessarily have a question. I was just wondering if I could make a few comments.
Okay.
Okay. You know, before we go through this, I just want to put out to the citizens of Hawarden that we applaud what happened back then to get into this. This is what Hawarden needed back over 20 years ago. This is what we needed. But now we're looking 27 years later, and we're still looking to see what the citizens of Hawarden, what they want, and we think that Premier can help get us access to the things that we need and to help move us forward. You know, I don't think that we would be here right now if they didn't do what they did back then, us negotiating the sale of a multi-million-dollar utility to be able to help us out and allow us to maybe focus on infrastructure and for roads and those kind of things, and we can kind of move forward together. We can have Premier work on the technology side and having us move forward with other things that the community wants. So I just wanted to kind of keep a positive vibe out there, just to know that this is a good thing for our citizens, and to have them look into it and to really study why we're considering doing this. The numbers don't lie. So it's really been eye-opening, that kind of thing, to know that the city just really can't sustain this utility and be able to move forward to where Premier was able to take us. So.
Any other thoughts from council?
I'm just going to, if you bear with me 1 minute while I open up the Iowa Code, I am going to point you to one section. I'm looking for the specific language, if you'll give me 1 moment. In 388.2A, subsection 2, C, references the governing body's determination of a city utility's fair market value pursuant to this subsection shall not be dispositive of the city utility system price, which shall be subject to negotiation by the governing body. And I reference that. The phrase shall be subject to negotiation by the governing body. The council will know from all of its projects that it's ever put out to bid that the bid letting process is the exact opposite from negotiation. The bid letting process is where you put something out to bid and you take the lowest responsible bidder, and you're prohibited from negotiating. So I'm simply pointing out that in this situation, not only did the city actually solicit bids from multiple potential purchasers, but the city then, pursuant to the statute, did in fact negotiate a selling price which exceeds the fair market value determination. So I thought it might be helpful to walk you through that.
Thank you. Any other thoughts before we continue on agenda item number 6 for resolution 2021-30? Is there a motion for resolution 2021-30? So moved.
Second.
Moved by Travis, seconded by Tim. Roll call vote, please, for resolution 2021-30.
Kurth,
Aye.
Bergsma,
Aye.
Feldacker,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Clucky,
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, resolution 2021-30 passes. Council and staff and Steve, this moves us then to agenda item number 7. This is the resolution 2021-31, resolution for the city of Hawarden calling for a special municipal election to be held on September 14th, 2021. Discontinuance and disposal by the sale of telecommunications utility of the city. Comments from you, Steve, in regards to this resolution?
The only thing I would state is that the reason this resolution is set out in a different set of proceedings than the other resolution is because once the council adopts this resolution calling a special election, the city clerk will deliver a copy of this executed and sealed resolution to the county commissioner of elections, who is the county auditor, and that will start the process. So rather than making the county commissioner of elections kind of fish through a long resolution with multiple details, I've set it out separately here for everybody's convenience. That's why it's in a separate document. But other than that, it is pretty self-explanatory. It calls for a special election, and it puts out the ballot proposition, shall the city be authorized to discontinue and dispose of the municipally owned telecommunications utility by sale. So the election creates the authority to go forward with the sale if the election proposition passes.
And with that election proposition, is there a percentage it has to pass by?
I believe that percentage is 50%. I would have to double check that, but that's my recollection. I believe it's only the bond issuance. If one is issuing bonds under a general obligation bond election that requires a 60%. And I will tell you in one moment for sure. I'm just switching over to the Iowa code, and it only requires a majority. So it's literally one vote more than 50% of the votes.
Thank you. Any questions in regard to resolution 2021-31, which sets a special municipal election to be held on September 14th of this year? Is there a motion for resolution 2021-31?
So moved.
Moved by Tim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jen. Roll call vote then, please, for resolution 2021-31.
Clucky,
Aye.
Kurth,
Aye.
Bergsma,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Feldacker,
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, resolution 2021-31 passes. Steve and staff and council, we're going to move into agenda item number 8, which is not in regards to any telecommunications or anything to that nature. We thank Steve for his assistance with this, and we will bid him goodbye as far as being on the phone.
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you, and good evening.
Thank you.
very much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Agenda item number 8, excuse me, resolution 2021-28. This resolution dedicates the alley that runs north and south from Main Street to 10th Street between Central Avenue and Avenue H as a one-way alley, entering from the south, exiting from the north. This would not impede the use of the post office. They come in from that way anyway. It would greatly enhance accidents have happened in the alleyway. Our general trucks that do make deliveries that are coming in from the north have impacted not only our business, but Jeff, when he was there, has impacted the new lawn that we put in, and so the city put in some boulders to help keep the sprinkling system and the lawn intact there. So this would just make it a one-way just for that block.
Correct. Yep.
So moved. A motion by Travis, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Rob. Roll call vote, please, for resolution 2021-28.
Bergsma,
Aye.
Feldacker,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Kurth,
Aye.
Clucky.
Aye.
On a roll call vote of 5-0, resolution 2021-28 passes. Personally, I thank you very much for bringing that to the agenda tonight. It's been quite a ride over the last number of years, so to speak. That moves us to agenda item number 9, resolution 2021-29. This is proposing to dispose of real estate property and publishing a notice of public hearing. Mike, would you give us an overview? I know we've talked about it, but give us an overview.
Yeah, we were approached several months ago by CFE wanting to do a major expansion on their property in Hawarden, adding several more grain bins, a wet holding tank, things like that. They have some property now that's adjacent to our city shop that we would be interested in on an exchange. The only caveat to that is they also have a building that we feel we could utilize. They were looking at selling it. We did make an offer of $35,000 on that building, and our plans for that would be to, if everybody knows the Quonset hut on 7th Street that has big holes in it, we want to really remove that building, but there's so much storage stuff in there. So we would move it to the CFE building. So we had a surveyor come. What the part that CFE wants is where the tracks and things like that are. They would propose to take out the tracks at their expense. They would take down all of their buildings that we don't want and move some bins and swap us that territory and sell us the building. So that's what this entails. There's maps in your packet that show kind of the before and after. This is really convoluted, pieced together properties. This would make it a smooth transition of everybody's property and allow us to move forward with we feel the ground that we need. We may be able to move our substation farther to the east by acquiring this property, hopefully saving us a little money as well.
The very northeast corner of the railroad track where you're trading. I'm just wondering, are they gonna tear out all the way to the highway, the railroad, or is that their plan, or?
Yeah, they were
Is
going to
that-
remove all of the track, yes.
I would say there's nothing in the exchange agreement saying that they're tearing that out.
But I'm just wondering if we ever sold that one lot just west of Sportsman, would that business ever possibly want to use the railroad
No,
access or
and I
anything?
believe there's a deal going on right now in which that lot is, there's an agreement with somebody on that lot that would have no interest in the railroad at all.
Okay, because I was just curious if we wanted to keep, that, I'm not sure how much, are you giving them 10 feet past the railroad track, or is there any?
Well, they'll take it out all the way to the highway, and then we're thinking that the railroad is gonna take out that crossing on the highway
Okay.
and fill that in, so there'll no longer be a railroad crossing. On to the west side of Highway 12, we don't own that section, and I'm sure they'll put up some kind of stops for the rail cars if they keep part of that.
Would that, whoever the possible buyer of that lot by the Sportsman, would they want more frontage? I mean, would they want part of that? Is there any business
No,
that they
no.
need?
Not for
expanded
what they're
frontage?
doing on it, no.
No
On the
problem.
far east end, going across that old railroad bridge, we'd still retain that property, or who owns that property?
We'd retain the bridge.
The bridge.
Yep. We'd pull the tracks off. We actually need to, a lot of walkers use that and cross, and bicycles, and
Yeah.
so we want to keep the bridge and turn it into just a walk bridge.
We want to put new decking and stuff on there. A lot of that's rotted out, so they can continue to use it.
It's been a motion by Travis, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jen. This motion and second is for resolution 2021-29, which proposes and publishes a public notice for CFE property exchange purpose proposal. Roll call vote, please, for resolution 2021-29.
Olson,
Aye.
Plecky,
Aye.
Bergsma,
Aye.
Feldhacker,
Aye.
Kurth.
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, resolution 2021-29 passes. Moves us to consent agenda. Looks like it's going to be a new restaurant, bar type of thing.
Yeah, they're taking over, with the old
Paradise.
Legion building, Paradise Bar. And he's gonna lease that, and wants to turn it into a restaurant, bar type place.
Okay. And that also, then Adam Waterman and Main Street Liquors. Is there a motion for consent agenda?
So move.
Moved by Rob, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
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 Those opposed, that passes 5-0. Our next regular stated meeting will be August the 11th, 2021. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Tim, is there a second?
I'll second.